Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. Here we are. Oh, it still says Kara Winslow. That's not Kara Winslow. That is the real deal, Rebecca Johnson.
That's right.
Sorry, Kara. Kara was on last week, but that can be quickly corrected. Don't get, don't panic, right?
I knew my makeup looked
confused.
good today, but I didn't know it looked that good.
What's your pink hair, Kara?
I know. Well, I decided to go for a more dark look.
Yes.
Nope, I'm Rebecca Johnson.
And I'm Kristen Rabell. Look at that. Here we are. Another lovely Monday. Gorgeous weather here in Gainesville, Florida. Absolutely love this weather. Of course, it could be colder for some. We'll talk about that later, I guess, maybe.
I could just
Did
do
you
with less
know
humidity.
it's only like 12 days till Christmas?
Yeah, I know. Why does everyone keep telling me that?
There we go. Chris Rebecca Johnson. Yeah, 12 days. I'm pretty much ready, though.
I'm
just
pretty
have a
much
little
ready.
bit
I have
of
like one gift I'm obviously
wrapping
waiting to
to
pay
do.
expedited shipping on. So
Okay. I still have to get a present for my mom. She asked for a really expensive gift. So I'm trying to settle that in my head.
You know what I got my mom?
Mom, you're so bougie. Why are you so bougie?
I got my mom some of that Rio de Janeiro
She is
lotion.
on this. Karen watches this.
I gave it to her yesterday.
Oh, okay. Karen, I'm glad you got your present already. Hopefully you opened it.
She did. I gave it to her. I didn't even wrap it. I was like, here's some lotion. And then I was like, here's some fancy soap from Sarah's shop. So
Love it. Sarah's shop is great.
she has a couple other
Sarah's
little things.
in Hale Plantation. We love her.
Yep.
She provides us with lots of wine and gifts. Wine mostly, but lots of gifts too.
She might not be on here today. She might be doing her rental thing. She's got a
It
rental.
sounds like it, or it looks like it, because she's not up, talking to
I
us
know.
yet.
Yet.
We'll wait for Karen. All right. Well, as today is exciting, I always love having guests. And we have a new friend. I'll call her a new friend of mine, Liesl Odell from Odell Move Management. And after our Monday market moment, we will start talking with her and talk about all the wonderful services she provides in the area. So, stay on and let's get to know Liesl a little more.
Sounds good. All right.
Are you ready for your time?
All right, let's see what's happening in North Central Florida. We're going to start in St. Augustine. Now, this is a look at the beach area and to see what's active in there since the beginning of the year. We always look from January till today in that market.
For active, right.
Right.
Which, remember, last week was a little, or
yeah,
one of the weeks was a little messed up, but now it's back to the normal number, right?
Yeah, it looks about right. So you've got 52 active, 8 pending currently, and 7 closed for the month of December. It's December 13th. Okay, I had to look. I'm like, the month is flying by. But yeah, so December 13th, you got 7 closings. That's not too bad this time of year in that area.
For the little beach area, right?
Yeah. So jumping over to Gainesville, you've got 74 active so far from the start of December in the single-family residential realm. You've got 141 pending and 112
That's a big
closed.
number compared to the active.
I think that's
Yeah,
I think
the
that's
closed,
pretty good.
112, that's a big number. So we're going to close out this year strong, I think.
I think so. It'll be
I know our
interesting in
agents
January.
will have a ton of closings coming
Some
up.
of those are some of our agents. I know one was out there working all weekend putting stuff under contract. So,
for
yeah.
them.
Yep. All right. Jumping down to Ocala, which I've heard great reviews on the World Equestrian Center's
The
lights.
WEC, which
The
after
WEC.
we were talking about it was on the news.
Right,
Or
so-
it was an ad on the on radio.
In case you don't know, we have a friend, and she kept writing me about she was going to the WEC. I'm like, I don't know what the WEC is.
Mind you, she's from Wildwood, which is like
Yes,
right
close
down the
to that
road
area.
from Ocala.
And then she told me, she was like, oh, I went to WEC. It's so amazing. You've got to take the kids. And I'm like, okay, WEC. I'm like, Winter Enchanted Christmas. I'm like, Googling. I'm like, I don't know what WEC is.
We have no
it's
idea.
World Equestrian Center for
And they
those
have
of
a
you.
rodeo coming up soon, so that
Which
might
I've
be
heard
the
good
one.
things about their stuff too.
That could be kind of fun.
But yeah, so anyways, go down. If you're down in Ocala, please go check it out. Gainesville's got some great light displays also. So Ocala, Marion, let's see what you're doing. 204 active so far for the month of December, 346 pending, really strong. And then you've got 269 closed. So looking strong,
What
staying
we've expected, right?
right. They're going to finish that end of the year pretty strong, it looks like. All right, Hillsborough County, which we had the pleasure of being in yesterday.
Yeah, we were in Tampa yesterday with our Tampa agents.
Yep, we got
having
to
a
see
nice
them.
little luncheon at the Rusty Pelican.
Yep. Yep.
And a little bit of a crazy waitress, but it made it more fun.
It definitely was more interesting. But yeah, so it was good to see everybody down there. And so Tampa, Hillsborough, you've got 431 active listings for the month of December, 934 pending, and 743 closed.
And their numbers are always strong. And they were all saying they still have a wild ride with their closings and the amount of offers that come on, amount that go over list price. So they're still in the throes of it. And I know all of them were talking about it's a really one of their best months ever. So,
well, they need to make all their money
December.
now because January it's busy down there, but there is a little bit of a festivity that detracts from everybody working. Yep. So we're about a month away from Gasparilla, so we'll be sharing some details for you.
The Pirate Month.
Yeah, the pirates invade the city. It's a lot of fun.
I've never been, but you said it's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's kind of a Tampa tradition. I think they've done it. There's only been 11 years that they've skipped in like the last 120. And one of them was because of COVID and back when the World War II was going on. So, but yeah, so we'll share some Gasparilla facts.
You might have to get some hotel tickets or, call a hotel before it gets
Y'all
all
don't
packed.
book until we book so that we know we have
I think they said they book really fast.
They
so
do.
If you are thinking of going Gasparilla, you got to book now. Mm-hmm. So yes.
All right, there's your Monday market moment and your current events that are upcoming.
Right. Look at us knowing all the events. All right, well, let's bring on Liesl now. I'd love to get you all to get to know her. Hello, Liesl. Thanks for joining our show.
Thank you so much for having me today. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, so you own Odell Move Management. And actually, when I hired you, which was actually, I won you at a charity event with Dance Alive, so that was a lot of fun. And we thought to give you away as like a gift, when your services to one of our buyers or sellers, but we really needed help, so hired you to help organize our garage. So when your name is Odell Move Management, right?
It is,
but it's really more helping people move out from many years in their home, and usually a generation, right?
Yes,
generational thing, right?
So it's really more about the downsizing than it is the moving. But if you think about what a wedding planner does for weddings, I do everything that has to do with the move.
Yes.
And I specifically like to work with seniors, but of course I'll work with anyone. You're not a senior.
I better not be.
But no, I love it. I really enjoy my clientele. A lot of people that I work with have been in their homes for 40, 50 years.
Oh my goodness.
So they really need that management, and that's where that comes in. I'm going to read off some of the things that you do.
Okay.
So floor planning, packing, unpacking, decluttering, sorting, suggesting safety improvements. That's really important. Charity delivery, which I love. Staging for sale. Excellent. Coordinating start of services, newspapers, magazines, utilities, additional services based on unique needs. So really it's definitely ending almost, an era, you could say, even though
it is
more than that or less than that, of living in a home and really the clutter, the life, the emotions, right, that are involved with all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
The things that happen when you're living, when you're living around a home that your family's grown up in. So what's interesting, though, is that about 85% of the people I work with, their children are usually not involved in the process, which you would think that everyone would come in and kind of gather what they want to out of the home, but
nobody
they don't.
wants anything.
Wow.
I'm going to tell you right
Nobody
now, Karen,
wants.
I hope you're listening.
Have you noticed that
We don't want
change
anything.
and becoming more and more like a higher percentage of people that don't have their families, their children?
Yes, I would say from when I first started, yes.
Okay.
Yes, there's percentages going up, and I think a lot of that is because people realize that they don't know, they're not as plugged into the community as someone within Gainesville. A lot of kids move away.
Right.
They're in different countries or different states, and they're not sure what the best place is to take things to charity or to the best estate sale companies to sell things, or the best way to dispose of the furniture and belongings they're not going to need.
Right. And do you feel like, because we talk about this all the time, at least with our parents, who my mom collects everything. She's an antique collector. So, there's 4 daughters and none of us really want everything that she thinks we should have, right? Or she's just mad because two of them are moved away, so she doesn't want to give these, nice things. So do you find it's also a part of these children not really wanting these items because they have a completely different style, or there's not the same emotional attachment to it?
Well, they're already established in their own homes. They're already established, and they don't really need those items. There are certainly things that they would want to take, and
Sure.
that's one of the things we also do is coordinate. If there's something that a family member wants, we provide pictures online that everybody, in the different corners of the country can look through, and if they want something, I've shipped 18 something cabinet to a lady in New York. I've shipped another carton of family silver and other things to Iowa and Montana.
Right.
So it just depends. I mean, certainly there's little things that people feel attached to. I'll tell you, in my grandparents' house, my grandfather was a missionary, so he had things from all over the world.
Right.
And I remember growing up, and whenever we would go over to his house, he would have this Spanish fan, this this red fan that would open up. So that was the one thing that I wanted when my grandparents passed, and that's normal for people. But I think in terms of the furniture and the things that you're talking about, they just don't have room for it, don't need it, and
right. And I know that some things that once were coveted by collectors are not so much coveted by. So things like change in value, like art. Certain artists will always be seen as very valuable, but then there's some artists that come and go,
right?
And trends that come and go. So my family's Spanish, right? Mm-hmm. Cuban Spanish, and so there are these glass or ceramic little little statues, and for the longest time they were valued, and then all of a sudden when my grandparents passed away, they weren't worth anything. Anything. My dad wanted one because it was Don Quixote, and it was a huge one, and my uncle wanted one just for the memory of it, but I was like, if I can't make any money off it, I don't want it.
Well, at Santos, a lot of Santos figurines as well. Those are coveted by family members as well. But you're right. Some people just don't.
My sister and I told our mother, Karen, who usually watches, I don't know if she's watching, we were like, we don't want anything. Don't keep anything for us. Don't save anything. I don't want to deal with it.
Well, like for us, there's all this like really beautiful china, but how many sets do you need? So I had a grandmother who collected them, and they were absolutely gorgeous, antique. There's 4 daughters, so we all got one, but there's quite a few left over. Mm-hmm. So I know that my mom's having a hard time with that, but then you bring in the estate sale, right? And oftentimes if you can get someone who really understands maybe the antiques, and you could probably connect them with people, right?
I do when they have enough to sell at an estate sale. Some people don't have quite enough. It's funny, the studies show that the boomer generation actually manages all of the things in their home better than the millennials do.
I would say,
Which
true.
I would think sometimes it would be the opposite, because the boomers have had longer to hold on to things. But that's just not what the research shows. But
interesting. Where do you get this research from?
From the web.
Okay.
I mean,
just looking it up.
There's a Duke study that was done, and then a lot of research comes from NASM.org. It's the National Association of Senior Move Managers.
Okay, which you are part of, right? You're a member of.
I'm a certified
and that's really
member.
Important to have with this being in this position, so that and owning this business, so that they know that you are certified,
right?
And you can take care of them.
Right. We go through extensive training before we become a senior move manager, and it's not just what to do with all the stuff and the floor planning and things like that, but it's also recognizing early signs of dementia in people, recognizing when people need more help staging their home so that it's safer as they age in place.
Okay.
It's really
so they could actually end up using you, but staying in the home, but really decluttering and getting a lot of things out of the way and learning how to live in this home in a safer environment.
Exactly.
Okay, wonderful. Exactly. Well, listen, we are at our half break, so let's take a little break and we'll come back and talk more.
Thanks.
Yes.
I was looking to join Rabell because I was at a large big box broker. I found myself a tiny fish in a big sea, so I set out looking to solve the problem of not feeling connected to my broker. I hadn't even met my broker. When I walked into Rabell Realty Group and the brokers were on site, there were agents in the office that were friendly and helpful, I knew I had found the solution to my problem. So what made me choose to work for Rabell Realty was really an encounter I'd had with Kristen early on in my career. I was showing a house and it was her listing, and she walked out and had her new baby strapped to her. Being a family girl and having a kid myself and wanting more, I knew I wanted something that was family friendly. And so that encounter that had happened early on in my career made me feel comfortable to know that wherever life took me, babies or no babies, I would have a place at Rabell Realty Group. I would recommend Rabell Realty Group to somebody else for the same reasons I found it. Synergy, heart, and hustle are our core values, and we really practice that here. The heart is here, I think, with everybody that works in this office. And the synergy, while we are not teams, so to speak, we work as one big team, and you just don't find that at other brokerages. I put my heart into everything I do, and Rabell does the same. You can tell with their branding, their marketing, the broker support of their agents. They're one of a kind.
All right, so we're back with the Rabell Realty Group podcast, Kristen and Rebecca, with our lovely guest, Liesl Odell from Odell Move Management.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So during the break, we were talking about some fun things, like when parents keep teeth and then pass it on to their, daughter-in-law or son-in-law or hair.
Or baby's first haircut hair.
And so we were talking about your family, your mom is very much throw everything away.
Or donate. We donate a lot of stuff or have garage sales.
Your mom is very much hold on to everything, and I would say my mom is also. But I'm a little bit of a mix of that. So when you came to help me, my grandfather had just passed away, and he was the last of the grandparents, at 98. So, and being Cuban, there were all these wonderful Cuban artifacts or articles or just things that he had collected over time. So one of them, though, to go back to the hair, so I'm a cancer survivor. So when I had my hair cut before it fell out, I had a really good friend come over and cut my hair into a ponytail, and we were going to donate it, but my grandfather wanted to keep it. Oh. So there it was in a box for me. And what do I do with my hair? And at this point I was like, this hair is, a good 15 years old. So I don't even know if it's good to donate anymore.
Well, if it's, 10 or 12 inches or longer, you can go to Locks of Love.
Right.
Or,
I'm not sure.
Or one of those charities.
But yes. It's in a box, so it's curled. So there's this curl, and my hair is completely flat, but there's just one curl at the bottom. And I was just
been there for 15 years.
I don't really know why people keep these things. And yes, teeth, like children's teeth, you keep your child's first tooth, but then what do you do with that when they get older?
No,
There's a lot of sentimental value in things, but sometimes it gets just a little, too sentimental.
Well, and from our perspective, right? But for them, it's really important, and I think that's the important thing that we try to remember every time we go into someone's home, is that they're the ones who need to say, this is important to me, this is not important to me. We can suggest along the way.
Do you ask
maybe
why, so that you can try to help them?
Not why, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to use my experience with you because I have this problem of being half my mom and half not, not wanting to keep everything, but still there are things I hold on to. I'm very much like her. You do become your mom. Gosh, save me.
Crap.
Right, save me from that. So you came in and it was just a garage, but it was a lot of stuff left over from my grandfather
garage.
And everything. And by the way, we have not added anything else. It looks pretty good.
Oh, pat you on the
Yay.
back.
I'm pretty proud of myself. We can park one of the Jeeps in.
Oh, okay.
And the golf cart, so I'm happy. So you basically helped us with asking questions and really getting down to the psychology of things. But she didn't give us a lot of pressure. So Susan loves to keep everything. So that's where I'm half, because I kind of fall into that with her. And I have many a times, you know this, tried to get Susan to throw things away or put things elsewhere or get them. And you are so amazing with us. So I think it is the psychology, asking the right questions, saying, well, if I found, and you know all of these different places that you could give them to or you know, find out if they're worth anything or important to someone else. You had so many suggestions that it kind of took the pressure off of me of not feeling like I needed to keep it because of the memory. And then I had like magazine articles from, you know, I had like maybe 7 of them. I don't know why I need all 7 of them 15 years later, right? So let's keep one. And you were able to help me and your staff. And I call them your staff, you know, they're not really your staff. They're people that you call in to help. So you have a large group of helpers.
I had 15 people working with me.
15 So I think 5 showed up. 3 of them showed up full time. The other 2 part time, which I think is amazing in this day and age where a lot of people can't find work. Yet they came willingly and helped.
Oh yes.
And there were 2 of them that were again sat with me, and a little bit of a push, right, but also a gentle push.
Right.
So that was, I think, the psychology behind, and like your sweetness and calmness is
so
really
kind.
well. I think you're good at this because you have to work with, again, seniors who have even more years in their house and with their items and with their things.
I'll give you an example.
I was going to say, do you work with teenagers? But we'll get to that afterwards.
She probably knows teenagers very well because
I do. I do. If I have 4 kids myself. But I'll give you an example. I worked with a couple. We were walking around their house as part of the initial consultation, and we got to a room, and there were maybe 6 or 8 boxes. Boxes with lids. I said, "Oh, what are these over here?" The man said, "These are my belt buckles." Lots of belt buckles that he's collected over the years. And his wife immediately said, "Oh, we can get rid of those. It's okay."
Right.
And of course, he turns white and says, "No, we're not. If you're going to throw those out, are you going to throw me out too?" Right. So he really dug his heels in. She really feels like she stepped in it too, because obviously there's an emotional connection to this. It's not just a thing anymore; it's an emotion. And so we went through them together. Yeah. And I said, which ones are most meaningful to you? Which ones are most valuable to you? And what we ended up doing is we got a shadow box. I bought it for $24 from Hobby Lobby. And we displayed his favorite belt buckles. He picked, I guess there was probably about 20 out of those boxes that he selected. We hung it on the wall so he could see them and appreciate them and enjoy them. It was off the floor.
So you turned his collection into art, you could say.
Turned his collection into art, right. And then the rest of them, he gave the thumbs up to go ahead and dispose of those. So
My in-laws have been doing very interesting things with that kind of stuff. They actually will pick one for each grandchild, not belt buckles specifically, but things like that.
Collected.
Like she had some older jewelry, and she had it melted down and had a custom piece for each granddaughter. And they've been doing things like that with their sentimental things, kind of modernizing it so that the kids will be more interested and
it sounds like they already know and have these plans, but you're able to offer these, like hearing something like this, go, that's a good idea if you don't already know that idea, right?
Well, and ideas are great, but are you really going to spend the time to go down to Hobby Lobby or
right? That's why you go
Michael's
and bought it
and purchase it. Yeah, so we went ahead and put it together and then hung it up in their new home, and they just
so our event day took a day. What, 8 hours? I would think maybe around that.
We started around 9, and I think we ended at 4 or 5.
So it was a good day, right? So, and that was just a garage.
Just a garage.
How long does it take for houses that is a full house? They've been there for 40 years.
It's a process.
You're getting shadow boxes. You're doing all of this. What is the average time?
It's a process. It's hard to say how many hours.
Right.
But I will
say
how many days.
Sure.
Well, everybody's different. Every person's different. There was one couple I worked with for 8 months before they moved.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Okay. They lived in a 4,000 plus square foot home and had lots of art and lots of things to go through. There's another lady who called me on the Thursday before the weekend and said, "I need to move on Tuesday," and so we just went in and helped her move. Of course, it just depends. We prefer to have the longer periods of time, but it just depends on the person. Sure. But yes, we'll go in and we'll meet with them, figure out what's important to them and what's not, what their goal is. A lot of people skip that step. They don't think about what is your goal with moving.
Right.
They just think moving stuff
Okay.
from point A to point B.
Sure.
But really, it's the goal. Are you trying to age in place? Are you trying to downsize at all? Maybe you want to turn one of the kids' bedrooms into a game room or a craft room, or think about your goals, and then we kind of create a plan from there, and start the process from there. But
great.
I'll say nothing will make a kid more aggravated than coming home
Yeah.
and finding out like mom's turned it into a treadmill, like workout room.
Oh, yes.
I'm just saying.
I think
I'm
somebody.
looking at you, Karen.
Karen's going to watch this
I
later. It's
know.
like, why wasn't I on this
She'll be like,
podcast?
you never come to visit. And I'll be like, but it's still painful.
I think somebody mentioned earlier was asking about children's artwork.
I would be interested to
right?
hear your theory. Can I ask her really quick what she does? Or
Yes.
you already know. What do you do? What artwork do you keep? And I'll tell you what I do.
Anything that's face or like hands or feet. And then you actually helped me with this, and we already know this answer, Susan, but it was a good question
But
to
a very
ask.
good question.
Is that you pick out, and I love those to see the growth of the hands and the feet, and that's all. Unless they did a really great job. I was like, this is super cute. We made one at an art show where we're like, you're creating it, and we framed it. But everything else, we just keep it. Now, I know the other choices are taking the pictures
I like that.
and putting them in an album of some sort. I didn't really find that work for me, so it was finding the ones and then putting it in a bag and putting it in a box in the attic. And then when he's older, he can go through it and choose what he wants to keep.
So I have 3 kids.
So that's mine.
Right. And so it started where we kept everything that Eva did. We thought she was just a genius. Then I had Thomas, and I was keeping all his. And when I got to my second bin, I basically have a Rubbermaid bin. Right. And I was like, oh, this is overflowing. And so I was like, I went through, and it's hands or feet when they were little. But so my daughter is really into art. Mm-hmm. And actually, Thomas has a little bit of talent in that too. So now I only will keep the one bin. And I've got all 3, so I'm like, it better be good if it's getting in the bin.
Right.
But it is the hands and feet stuff. But otherwise, because Eva has made some really interesting pieces, and then Thomas had to do a portrait of himself as Salvador Dali, which it was really good. And he's done a couple other self-portrait things. So I'm like, if they're keeping it, it's interesting. I actually have them displayed in the house. I have from Target, they were like $3, but they look like, oh my gosh, you used to hang clothes on them, clothespins. Yeah, they're big, but they're oversized. So I hang a couple there, and I'll rotate them out when they bring new. And if I'm like, it's really good, I want to keep this for when they're older, or I gift it to grandparents framed.
Yes. So
I'll frame it and
that's
give it
something
to-
else that I've done is gifting it,
That's
framing
what,
it.
So I'm like,
and
who do
that's
you want
what
to give it to?
my grandmother on my mom's side, my maternal grandmother, she was an artist. And so when we were little, and she would have us sit down and draw with her, paint with her, and she'd always, like her favorite, she would always put in a frame and give to us. So I still have some of mine from
that's
growing
adorable.
up. So I love that
sweet.
idea. So that's what I do for Mason
That's
also.
adorable.
But what is your
What is your
suggestion?
suggestion?
I would definitely pick the best of the best, right? Especially if we're talking about drawings or paintings. Maybe make a section of a wall in the house. Maybe it's in the child's room, even if they're adults now, and make a maybe a 4x4, 16 pieces of art framed on the wall. I'd do that. I have a Samsung refrigerator at home that has the video screen on it, and
that's a great
I like
idea.
I
that.
upload pictures to that all the time, and I love just walking through the house and seeing that.
That's a really good
that's
idea,
so
actually.
cute.
But let me tell you, when you talked about hands and feet, one of my favorite things that my sister did, we lost my dad in January 2020, and then we lost my mom last month.
Oh, goodness.
And one of the things that she did at a family get-together, and I thought she was silly at the time, but she brought one of those little buckets that you put your hands down in the plaster of Paris, and
Oh, yeah.
it's just like it's not even 10
yeah,
minutes
it's
set.
quick. I've seen that.
But mom and dad's hands were like this.
Aw.
With they both did their left. How did they do that? I guess it wasn't their left hand and the right hand, but it's mom and dad's hand together down in the bucket, and so now it sets up like this in my sister's house, and
Oh,
we
that's so
love that
sweet,
because
yes.
there's something about the lines in their
Right.
hand and knowing that that's theirs. It's just beautiful. So it's not just for kids, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think it is interesting.
Such a
So I'm like,
beautiful
oh,
idea.
I'm not sentimental. I don't keep a lot of things, but I will say my grandfather passed away. And so when my mom and my aunt were going through his house, I was like, grab me 3 or 4 of his shirts that kind of coordinate in color. Well, he was kind of an outdoorsy mechanic man, so they don't smell that great. But I had I have in the process a kind of a quilted pillow cover being made so that I can have like a little throw. And I got that from my mother-in-law too. She took all the old oven mitts her mom collected, and they made 4 quilted style pillows with all the different patterns and gave them out as gifts. And I'm like, oh, that's really sweet. So I was doing that with his, because my mom's like, what do you want of Poppy's? And I was like, I don't really want anything. Just grab me a couple of his older, but nice conditioned shirts so that I can have something made. So
I have actually mailed socks to the daughter of a client who was in another state. She couldn't come down. She didn't have room for any of his things, but she wanted a pair of his socks.
That's funny.
So yeah.
There you go.
Little sentimental things.
Yeah.
She said it's cold up here. You know, I always wear socks. So yeah.
I wear my dad's socks. That's sweet. Well, wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about your company and what you do?
Just there's no strange or crazy request. Everybody's different, and some people feel awkward about making requests and asking for help with certain things, but we're all different. That's what makes our world spin.
Right, there
right,
you go.
is our individuality. So
Eyeglasses.
Wonderful.
We wanted to mention that really quick, just because
we had a realtor today. We were hoping that she would come on here to ask a question. Where do you donate used eyeglasses?
Lions Club is a big eyeglasses recycler. There are some Christian-based philanthropies as well.
Okay.
For example, my dad, through the United Methodist Church, used to go down to a Lutheran in the Bahamas every year, and he would need everything from shoes to socks to used sporting equipment, and he would take glasses as well. But Lions Club is a big one.
Lions Club is a big one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good to know. That's amazing. So I did meet you through Dance Alive, which I brought.
That's right.
The mug. And so we did want to give a shout out to Dance Alive and Poe Falls, where Dance Alive, I guess you could say, comes from, right? And this weekend is the Nutcracker. So if you have not purchased your tickets yet, you should go online. I don't have the URL here, but you can certainly Google Dance Alive, Nutcracker. Do you know it off the top of your head?
I don't know the URL, but I have to tell you, I'm excited about the Nutcracker this year because
Tell us,
there's a twist to it. This year, Clara is the one who saves the prince from the Mouse King.
Yep.
So I'm kind of excited to see.
So
how
I'll be in Michigan, and I was a super bummed because there's only 2 nights, and it's while I'm there. So to hear this, I'm even more bummed.
I know.
But I'll be excited to hear how it went. So
That's good.
So get your tickets to see the twist. The one in Tampa that you're going to, Jackie, or Orlando, it's not going to have that twist. I don't think so.
You should go see it in Gainesville too.
Yep, you should come here
Just
this
to be
weekend.
safe.
All right. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on. We really appreciate it.
Thank
And hopefully you can share this podcast with others if you'd like to.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we're always on Facebook and
Facebook and
YouTube.
YouTube.
FaceTime, Facebook. You know me with my blondness. At 2, but it can be re-shown, re-seen, shared all the time. So we thank everyone for coming on and commenting and playing along. So thank you, Liesl, again. We'll go through our slides.
All right. If you have a property that you would like to have managed professionally, we have a service for you at K&R Property Management. We could be your leasing agent, your accountant, repairman, inspector, and overall awesome landlord. So let us know if you are
it sounded like you said planlord, which I would think is really good. Planlord. You're a planlord. You're a planlord also in a way.
I am.
You could reach us at 352-213-6410.
All right. And if you're looking to join a team or join real estate or change your real estate career, please email us at join@buysellrebell.com and we'll talk to you about all the options you have.
And did you know you can get social with us online? You can on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and YouTube.
Yeah.
You can like
and subscribe.
I feel rusty after
I know, right?
being off a week.
Off. And did you know we have a blog? If you haven't come on here yet, we do have a blog, and we talk about what's going on in the markets that we service and just real estate in general, and also repeat some of the things we've talked about here on this podcast. So go to buysellrebell.com/blog.
And if you are interested in hosting your own, or not hosting, I guess performing, I don't know the proper term for that, entertaining the masses with your podcast, reach out to The Fiesta Media, who does a fabulous job putting on our podcast every Monday at 2, and we are live. You could reach them at 352-327-5089.
And we thank them always for doing this for us. It's been a great partnership. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
Thank
it's a
you.
great little
Good
conversation.
information.
Yeah.
Appreciate you having me here.
I could probably talk to you for hours, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was already 2:30.
That's what we love about that, about having you on. All right, well, join us next week. I won't be here, but we have a special guest.
We have a
with
special guest.
Rebecca. So
Yeah.
I will be watching it from
Oh,
Michigan.
boy.
Can't wait to
We'll
see
be
how
on
it
our
goes.
best behavior.
I'm sure you will. All right, we'll see you then. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.